Okay, it is 9 a.m. on September 16th, 2025, and this is the regular council meeting for the Town of Rocky Mountain House, and I will call the meeting to order. First order of business is adoption of the agenda. We have an agenda in front of us. Is there any changes or modifications that needs to be made to the agenda? Councillor Sheffield.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I'll also move the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. And we'll move on to item 3, public hearing. Okay, I hereby declare that the public hearing for bylaw 2025/14 is now open. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to the Municipal Government Act in order to consider the proposed bylaw 2025/14, a bylaw to amend the Town of Rocky Mountain House Municipal Development Plan and Land Use Bylaw 2020/19. At this hearing, the public will be allowed to make presentations to council, and all persons present who believe that their interest in a property is affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. Those who wish to speak concerning the proposed bylaw may address council by clearly stating your name and address. Then you may give us the benefit of reviews concerning the proposed bylaw. Should council require clarification on any issue raised by the public, council will call on the staff to further clarify the matter. The staff's comments will be limited to technical matters and should not be construed as support for or in opposition for the development. Members of council may, if they wish, ask questions of you following your presentation. However, the main function of council members today is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at this public hearing to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw for the individual citizens. Everyone shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views heard. Any person who wishes to present a written submission to council may do so. All of those submissions will be retained by the secretary, and copies of the submissions will be available upon request after the hearing. So I will ask administration to introduce the bylaw.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Phillips. Bylaw 2025/14 is a bylaw to rezone a parcel of land. 3 of the parcels would be rezoned from future development to rural residential. Another parcel would be rezoned to environmental open space district, and the remainder of the parcel would stay as future development. The applicants are had a subdivision that was previously approved, and one of the conditions of the subdivision approval is to rezone the parcels of land to the appropriate designations, and that's why that bylaw is being brought forward to council today.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. I'll ask administration if any correspondence or written submissions have been received.
Acting Mayor Phillips, we did not receive any written comments from the public in support or in favor. We did have a person stop by our front counter. They just expressed that they may attend the meeting, and then they also just expressed that they'd like to see the parcel remain as a undeveloped natural green space. They're directly adjacent to the parcel.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to ask if there's anyone present here that would like to speak on the bylaw or has any questions. Okay, I am not seeing anyone here to ask any questions or speak on the bylaw, so I'm going to ask council if they have any technical questions for administration. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Councillor Caparo.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we're going to move on to delegations. The Rec Master Plan. I believe they're attending via Zoom.
Hello there.
Hello. So I will turn it over to you, and if you need to share your screen, go ahead. We do have the presentation in front of us on our computers.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mayor and Council. My name is Justin Russo. I'm the Managing Director of Expedition Consulting, and we're the group that was helping you with your Recreation Master Plan over the past number of months. As you're aware, we completed a robust community engagement process that began way back in spring. So in April was phase 2 engagement, and we had a good conversations with residents and with other groups and with yourselves to get an initial understanding of what the needs of the community are in relation to recreation. We were able to deliver a draft report over the summer, and I had an opportunity to present the draft to yourself as town and county council, and then we were able to collect some feedback from you on any changes that you may have wanted to see in the draft. Over that period, we also had an opportunity to speak with the public to test whether the draft plan sort of landed with them. And there was a lot of alignment among multiple groups and an agreement in the direction of the plan. There was a few small changes, which Maxwell will talk to you a little bit about in the presentation here and describe. The purpose of today is to present the final plan and then answer any questions that you might have. I'm going to pass it over to Maxwell Harrison to do the presentation.
Thank you, Justin.
You're a little quiet there, Maxwell.
Oh, okay. How's the sound now? Can you hear me over there?
Yes,
Up and
yes, yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. Okay, just loading the presentation here. Okay. Can we see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right, I'll get the presentation underway. So the agenda for our delegation here is to present some of the highlights from the final plan, and then Justin and myself would be happy to answer any questions you might have about the plan. So in terms of our overall deliverable here, and what we were aiming to achieve is developing a recreation master plan that is intended to be used to provide guidance in making decisions that best meet the recreation facility and program needs of your community. And the focus of this plan is on facilities and programs that are in Rocky Mountain House, with consideration that your facilities and programs do serve both town and county residents. We implemented a 5-phase process, and Justin spoke to some of the community engagement that took place in phase 2 and also in phase 4, which brings us to the 5th and final phase with the development of this final plan. The level of community engagement that we were seeking through this process was at the involve level, and that really means that our goal was to work directly with the public, ensuring that their concerns and aspirations were considered through this process. And our promise to the public through this engagement process was to ensure that their input is directly reflected in the report. And there were a host of community engagement activities. There was a public survey in phase 2, as well as a survey specifically for community groups. Then we hosted several rounds of input workshops, some that were open to community members as well as user groups, input workshops with yourselves, town council, as well as county council. There were in-person engagement activities that took place, and the photo on this slide is the booth that we set up at the Rocky Regional Recreation Center. We had really good participation in that and great discussions with your community members. And we also did one-on-one interviews through a process. And then there was that draft plan feedback opportunities, which Justin spoke to. So when you add up all of the touch points with the community through this project, there were 766 of those. So we were quite proud of that. And we think the input we collected gives you, it should give you confidence in moving forward with a strong understanding of the community's needs, as well as when you consider all the different community groups that responded to the survey, provided input in different ways, when you look at their membership, they represent over 2,000 people. Yeah, we were quite pleased with the engagement that we were able to achieve. And community engagement was an important input, but it wasn't the only input that went into this plan. There are several other of those, including in-person tours of your facilities and discussions with your recreation staff. We looked at utilization data for your facilities. We looked at your inventory of facilities and programs. We conducted a supply and demand analysis. We also conducted an opportunity assessment for sport event tourism, and that is a component in the plan with supporting recommendations. We looked at growth projections, both from a demographic perspective, but also an activity perspective. We looked at broader trends in the recreation sector and tried to tailor those and pick up on the ones that are most applicable to your community. And we also considered your other existing plans and strategies and opportunities for alignment with those. So the plan has a vision statement for recreation, and that reads as investment in recreation parks and culture will result in the development of facilities, amenities, and programs that will make Rocky Mountain House a community of choice in central Alberta. So this vision statement is intended to be an aspirational, forward-looking statement that is intended to be a bit of a guiding light or North Star in terms of where recreation, what's the purpose and mandate of recreation here. And we did try to build in linkages here in the wording to like community development, economic development, because recreation can play an important role in that. And we picked up during our input sessions, particularly with town council, that was an important piece of recreation that you asked to see reflected in the plan, so we wanted to make sure we did that. The plan also includes 5 supporting guiding principles for service delivery. So these are intended to be sort of higher level statements that can be used to inform decision making. And these guiding principles are related to providing equitable access, ensuring accessibility and inclusion. Number 3, striving to achieve long-term sustainability, continuity, and adaptability in your recreation service provision. Then prioritizing community engagement and participation in your planning and evaluation and development of recreation services. And then lastly, fostering strong collaborations with your partners to ensure that you're leveraging all available resources and expertise and helping them support your delivery of recreation services. So the master plan outlines several key areas of focus that contain many priorities and recommendations, and those priorities and recommendations are separated into 5 different categories here. These are the focus areas. So there's indoor facility development recommendations, and then recommendations for outdoor facility development, program development, service delivery and community partnerships, and then sport tourism development. A few notes on how this plan is intended to be used. So the master plan is a non-statutory plan. So of course it will be subject to your annual budget processes, and as well as your ongoing efforts to partner with your partners, whether that's user groups or the county. The plan should be evaluated annually using the key performance indicators, those KPIs, which are included in the plan. An important note, the top 10 actions are listed in a recommended order of priority currently, but they do not need to be completed sequentially necessarily. We made that point in the plan. And of course, the town is free to add, remove, reorder activities based on the evolving needs of the community, as well as new opportunities may arise, right? There may be new grant programs that are really strongly aligned with a certain priority, and if the opportunity is there to jump on it and get after one action ahead of the other, then certainly that's worth considering doing. So rather than touching on each priority here for this presentation, I think it'd be valuable just to identify what the top 10 actions came out as being. First up there is developing 2 new rectangular sport fields to accommodate several different sport field users, but also to support your tournament hosting capabilities. So that's that sport tourism link there. Undertaking a feasibility study for a new field house facility and considering including important amenities to the community, such as an indoor walking running track, multi-sport courts, potentially turf field surface, indoor playground and climbing wall. Number 3, undertaking a concept design to repurpose Centennial Park Campground, and striving to increase public access to facilities during prime times. And number 5, growing sport tourism by looking to bid on events that are aligned with your assets, with your hosting capabilities, and enhancing your capacity for future event hosting and event development. And the remaining 5 actions here, developing new public access points to the North Saskatchewan River. That's a really great recreation asset, outdoor recreation asset in your community. Completing core upgrades for your existing facilities so that you can maintain service levels. And there were items identified in condition assessments for the arena and aquatics facility. So getting after those, making sure those are in good working order. And then considering potential future renovations and enhancements to the aquatic center based on community requests and interests. Enhancing facilities and programming for performing and visual arts, is number 8. And then increasing the capacity of community groups to deliver their recreation programs, as well as support facility development through we call it a community recreation support initiatives, and there's several sub-recommendations under that in terms of what that might look like. And then number 10, developing a management and development plan for the North Saskatchewan River Park. And this slide here touches on some of the main changes that were made to develop a final plan from the draft plan, and these changes were made based on feedback that we collected. We clarified that the top 10 actions do not need to be completed sequentially. We took out priority 1F from the top 10 actions. We enhanced the recommendations related to the North Saskatchewan Regional Park to put a bit more direction there in terms of next steps for that asset. And then we also included that in the top 10 that came in at number 10. We adjusted the wording related to Centennial Park a bit to give you a bit more flexibility there. We included a summary of the phase 4 engagement process, as well as the results, so you'll find that in the plan in the appendix. And we also managed to source some additional local images and build those into the plan to make sure there's really strong connection to your community. So in conclusion, the master plan puts forward a strategic direction and some detailed actions that we hope will guide you towards your vision for recreation. And successful implementation will take investment and collaborative efforts from municipal partners, community groups, and residents. And we tried to build in some mechanisms and recommendations into the plan to help you achieve that and build generate buy-in for the plan and keep it moving forward into the future. So in terms of next steps, we hope you will utilize this plan as a tool to inform your decision making, as well as your operational and capital planning related to recreation services. It will be important to evaluate your progress regularly, and there's tools and KPIs and things in the plan to help you with that. And we hope you also get an opportunity to celebrate your successes. When you look at your last master plan for recreation that you did, you accomplished a lot of those things, and that was really great. We hope you'll be able to accomplish a lot of the priorities in this plan as well, and that those are celebrated for the impressive achievements that they will be. So that concludes the presentation from our team here, and we would be more than happy to answer any questions that council may have for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Maxwell, for that presentation. And I'm going to turn to council to see if we have any questions. Councillor Shiffield.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I have a question about number 2 under the top 10 actions. And this has to do with your comment about linkage in wording. So you have in there, undertake a feasibility study for a new fieldhouse facility. I question the word field house in there, if it should not read a new facility which would include a field house. So a field house is a specific item. In that document, beneath that, you got specific items. Why would not field house fall into the specific items of a new facility versus a field house facility? I question the wording on that one, that's all. It's too, to me, it's too small. It doesn't make a broad enough picture, or it doesn't, by putting the word field house in there. I want to know what the comments you heard in the community, if they were more general versus more specific to field house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the comments we heard from the community were specific to Fieldhouse, and in our experience, it is fairly standard or normal for Fieldhouse facility. It's like the anchor amenity of that facility, but to include additional kind of supporting amenities like things like climbing walls or fitness centers, or and in this case, which is recommended, the indoor running and walking track. But that being said, yeah, in terms of what the facility gets called or what you'd like to call it, you're definitely free to adjust that or make it more of a broader term if you prefer. Yeah.
So what does council think on that amendment? Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that this was a recreation survey, so it wasn't being presented as some members of the public thinking that we would have a field house with a town hall, with a whatever that may be. So, I think the questions were asked and it was based on recreation, and that's the feedback we got was recreation and not extra add-ons that may be possible.
And Councillor Shipple.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. I understand what you're saying. I guess I was thinking more of, if, for example, we needed a new pool or a new ice surface or something such as that, if we're talking more specific about a field house versus a new facility could include anything and everything. I wasn't even thinking about where you went. I just wanted it to be more broad so that when we look at that, it sort of opens it up to everybody. And if we're out in the community saying, hey, we're looking at a new facility, it allows us to sell a new facility, not a specific facility.
Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I think that's kind of, this is what the public has put forward, their top 10. I think that's the job of council to explore a phased approach, or, we've got our, what's the assessment?
Building assessment.
Building assessments. We've got those. We know that we've got certain buildings and things that need to be replaced, and be it 15 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. So that, I think, would be something that council would, if they consider a field house in the near future, how do we incorporate our 5, 10, 15-year capital plans, expanding that with possibly the pool or ice arenas or whatever that may be.
Okay, so the question is, are we okay with the wording in the report as is? Do we want to modify that to say just facilities as opposed to field house? Or are we okay just leaving it the way it is? Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I'm fine with leaving it the way it is.
Councillor Musker.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I'm fine with leaving it the way it is as well.
Councillor Cabrera.
Thank you. I don't have a problem with the way that it's written, but I think down the road when the council is looking at ways to improve and add to, they should take all of that into consideration, but I don't think we have to limit ourselves because we say field house necessarily on this here.
Yeah, I look at this as a living, breathing document. It's in its state today. It could be modified 6 months, 6 years, 16 years from now. I think it's prudent for any future council when they're looking at the rec discussion in total to look at, as Councillor Hutchinson alluded, or Deputy Mayor Hutchinson alluded at, the existing facilities, the timelines on replacing those or modifying those. So I look at this as a living, breathing document that will ebb and tide with the needs of the day. Okay, any other questions on this document? Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I think before the motion comes forward, I would just like to have some clarification with admin on, I certainly don't want this to be a document that gets left on the shelf because there's so much good information on it. So are we going to be going forward with bringing it to service level, or is it going to be revisited at strategic planning? How do we go forward with this?
Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So the answer to all of that is yes. So it will be on the service level agenda for discussion, because as council knows, it's trying to put a lot of priorities in place at the service level, because it's also core services and supplementary services and discretionary services that are trying to all come together for our budget. So it'll definitely be on service level, and then we also will be going into strategic planning within a few months after the election, which after service level, of course, which I'm sure this document will be revisited to set priorities for the next 4 years.
Thank you.
And Mr. Kraus, will there also be a component of discussions with Clearwater County on this as well?
Yes, so I mean, anything that would make it through service level and into a budget discussion, then that's when we consult with Clearwater County, because they are our regional partner in recreation. And through the ICF, we have the ICC where that is discussed and for support, and both on capital and operating costs.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, concerns regarding the report? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So thank you both for coming in today and presenting. You've done a lot of work on this document. It's quite detailed, and we're obviously going to use this for years to come. So we just thank you for all the effort and time you put into it.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you and administration and the community in developing the report, and we're pleased that you're going to be able to use it for your planning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on in our agenda, we have adoption of the previous minutes. We have the minutes from September 2nd.
Don't we need a resolution?
No. That'll be,
Oh,
That would be under delegation.
6.1.
yeah. Sorry, so adoption of the previous minutes from September 2nd. Everyone have a chance to look at those. Is there any changes or errors that are noted in those documents? Councillor Musker.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I move that we accept the minutes from the regular council meeting of September 2nd, 2025, as presented.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. And now moving on to delegation business. Mr. Kraus.
Yes, thank you, Acting Mayor. So really what administration is looking for is council to either adopt the RAC master plan, adopt it with amendments, or bring it back for revisions, but that is what we're looking for.
Okay, so that is the discussion before us. Are we okay with the document in its current form? Are there any modifications? I know Councillor Shipple had suggested one. Is there anything else we need to look at this document? And if not, then just looking for a motion. Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Like I had said earlier, it's a great document. There was a lot of work put into it and a lot of input from the public, which was really, really nice to hear. So having said that, I would make the motion be it resolved that council approve the recreation master plan as presented.
And thank you for that motion, Deputy Mayor. Any comments, questions on that motion? Call out to a vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. And moving on to old business, 7.1, the bylaw to amend the bylaw 2025/14 to amend bylaw 2020/19. And Mr. Fitzsimmons and Mrs. Hartling is coming up.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Phillips and Council. We have the application, or the bylaw to rezone a future development parcel, with 3 of them being rezoned to rural residential, 1 to environmental open space district, and the remainder to remain as future development. The applicants went through a subdivision process. Subdivision was approved, and one of the conditions of that subdivision is to go forward with this process to rezone the parcel. The proposed bylaw was advertised after the public hearing was scheduled. The proposed bylaw was advertised in the August 20th and 27th editions of the Mountaineer. We did receive 5 comments from some of the agencies. Alberta Forestry and Parks indicated they had no concerns with the bylaw. Alberta Health Services indicated no concerns. They did mention some of the setback distance requirements for septic systems and water wells. They brought that to our attention with their comments. ATCO Gas indicated no objections. They did indicate there's a high pressure gas line that goes from north and south through the property. They just indicated that if that gas line needed to be moved or relocated, it would be at the applicant's expense. Blue Mountain Power Co-op indicated they had no concerns. The parcel doesn't fall within their operation area, so that's why they indicated no concerns. And then Clearwater Regional Fire also indicated no concerns. They did mention that in the future they would like to review any development, building permit applications if this bylaw was given 3rd reading. And Alberta Transportation also indicated no concerns. They did mention, just indicate any future development there, just to make sure that traffic or impacts are mitigated. Overall, we're still recommending that council give 2nd and 3rd reading to the bylaw. It does meet the goals and intents of the municipal development plan, which had that area marked for like a rural residential development. And if this was given 2nd and 3rd reading, any future development on those 3 rural residential lots would have to fall. We'd look at the rural residential zoning requirements, so setbacks, site coverage, just all the regulations that apply to that zoning. So overall, we're recommending council give 2nd and 3rd reading to the proposed bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Questions for administration? Councillor Caprero.
No questions, but seeing that there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion. Be it resolved that council gives 2nd reading to amending bylaw 2025/14, a bylaw to amend the Town of Rocky Mountain House Municipal Development Plan, bylaw 2020/20, and the Town of Rocky Mountain House Land Use Bylaw, bylaw 2020/19 as presented.
Okay, and thank you for that motion. Discussion? Call it to a vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. And we have a Councillor Auld.
I'll make the next motion. Be resolved that council give 3rd reading to amending bylaw 2025/14, a bylaw to amend the Town of Rocky Mountain House Municipal Development Plan, bylaw 2020/20, and the Town of Rocky Mountain House Land Use Bylaw, bylaw 2020/19 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Auld. Any questions, comments on that? Discussion? Okay, I'll call that to a vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 7.2, the data center study. Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So the data center study was presented to council at a previous council meeting, and council asked for some amendments to the wording in the study. Those amendments were done by the consultants and basically taking out the word node and replacing that with future potential for larger data centers. And then there's just clarification on representing data centers in Alberta, and that's actually in the report. So I'm just looking for council if those changes are acceptable, and if they are, to accept the data feasibility study, or if further amendments are requested.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kraus. Councillor Shippold.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. They sort of address some of the concerns. I look at 2.1.2, and that's about the current market assessment graph in there. It does not have Canada in there. Again, it's broad, and although they've added a couple pages, they've really not added information to what the market is in Canada and where it's going. And there's a couple areas in here like that where they've added some paper to it in terms of what's happening in Canada, but I don't know. I just question if this information is far too broad for what we're looking for. I just throw that out there. I just don't think they addressed the questions that were there.
So how do we want to proceed with that? Just looking at 2.1.2, correct, Canada is not in that graph. Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. But farther on, it does have details on data center locations in Canada. Is that enough?
Can you
Councillor
follow
Schiffel.
that graph on the Canada? Did you look at it?
Looking at it right
Like, you know, it's there. It's pretty Mickey Mouse.
So is this something we want to go back and look at having a revision? Are we okay with it as is? I guess that's the question that we're looking at, Councillor Schiffel.
I'm going to suggest we go back to them and ask them to be more specific about Alberta and our area. I mean, this is a document we need to work for us. In its present state, I don't think it does work for us.
So are you making that suggestion on section 2.1.2?
Well, they can do whatever they wish with the document. It has to be more, I think, centered around Alberta and drill down to what we're looking for.
Okay, so we have a concern. What does the rest of council think about that? Is that something we want to look at? Councillor Auld.
I'm just curious if they don't have enough information for Alberta because there is only 2 locations that they have data centers, Calgary and Edmonton. They've listed, there's 15 in Edmonton, 16 in Calgary. But if there isn't more information to provide, I'm not sure what you're looking for specifically.
Well, if Greenview County has got what they've got, there's got to be a document out there that they looked at for Greenview County that would show the necessity in the province of Alberta to develop the size of the Greenview County's got, or Mr. Wonderful's proposing Greenview County. So that documentation that got them that program should be in here someplace. I'm sure that Mr. Wonderful didn't go ahead and just throw a dart at a board and say, yeah, we're going here. There had to be some backup information as to why they went there. I want to know if we have that same kind of information available for our area, and should it be included in a document indicating we have all that and maybe more because of our location. So I don't know. I just don't, I think it's weak, so.
Mr. Kraus, do you have a suggestion or?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get my head around exactly what we need to put in here to satisfy council, because really it does narrow down to our region, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it into town, and it does narrow down to what we have, you know, for power, water, labor, resources, and so forth. So I'm just unclear of how adding Alberta potential strengthens our local potential. So, but as long as I'm clear, I can go back to the consultants and request that information.
So Councillor Schiffel, do you have a comment to that?
I hear you, and it does, they have come back with more information. I'm just not sure that it's not, I just look at it and it now looks piecemeal, because it looks like the document's done and then there was some add-ons to that document. So the last pages they added on now is the new Alberta information. It doesn't look like it melds well within the document itself. So my take on it was the first document, they went to AI and said, yeah, we need a report. And they give us a report. Didn't have anything to do with Canada, didn't have anything, it was everywhere else. Then we went back and said, hey, give us something more consistent with the area, which they've done. But now it looks like it's a part of the document, not even part. It's like an addendum to the document. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. But I just don't, when I read it, I just don't get the flow of the document the way I thought it could be or should be if we're giving it to developer to come in here. The first portion of it is about, well, here's what's happening in the world. Oh, and by the way, here's what's happening here. Maybe that's okay.
Okay.
What does the rest of council think? Are we okay with the document in its current state? Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Is this document intended to be given to the developers, or were we, because we talked about doing a pamphlet type information brochure for developers to hand out to them to start that discussion? So is this document more for our reference so that we have the background, or is it for, to be given out to the developers?
Both, I guess. I mean, it is for our reference, but I mean, we will also provide this to potential developers to show that, we've looked at every angle and why Rocky is a suitable location for their development.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
So having said that, I feel that does cover why Rocky would be a suitable place. And I would think if somebody is coming in looking at developing a data center, they would probably have a lot of that historical information, I would hope.
Councillor Musker.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I think all the information regarding us locally is there. Labor, land, power, availability, all that stuff. I will say this, after getting the rec master plan, this one comes across as being a little clunky. I don't know that it needs to be flashy like the rec master plan. This is data center stuff as opposed to recreation, but it's unfortunate that it followed the rec master plan presentation because that one was fun to read, right? This is information, and it's got everything in it that I was hoping to see.
Okay, so am I hearing from council that we're okay with this document as is? Okay. Okay, then we have a motion, or recommended motion. If there's no further discussion. Councillor Musker.
Thank you. Since I brought this forward late last fall, and here we are with the presentation, and it all came together, so in less than a year. I'll make the motion. Be it resolved, the council accepts the data center feasibility study as presented.
Thank you for that motion. Discussion on that motion. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Call out to a vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Moving on to item 7.3. See, the province likes to keep us on our toes with certain motions we make. So this is, Mr. Kraus, this is just a motion to do some housekeeping tips.
Yeah, so
Housekeeping.
council passed a resolution at the last council meeting to appoint a library board member that was submitted to the province. They didn't quite like the wording because it didn't have the word counselor in it versus just the name. So we're just looking for council to correct that for us.
Councillor Musker.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. As the council representative on the library board, I will make this motion. Be it resolved that council appoints Clearwater County Councillor Gibson to the Rocky Mountain House Municipal Public Library Board from today to October 20th, 2025.
And thank you for that motion. Discussion. All those in favor? And that is carried. And moving on to new business, 9.1, the Co-op Connection Tour. This is an email that I received last week, or a little more than that. They are coming to Rocky Mountain House on October 3rd, and I believe this is a good opportunity for council to sit in, listen to what's going on, what the presentation has to say, and to show that we're supportive of our community. So my suggestion would be that any members of council that want to attend this should attend this. And Mr. Kraus, would we make a motion to that effect? Deputy Mayor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I'll make that motion that any councillors wishing to attend the Co-op Connection Tour on Friday, October 3rd. Was there an RSVP on it? I wasn't sure if we have to register. Reach out to admin to register.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Discussion on that motion. Call it to a vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. Moving on in our agenda, correspondence for information. There's only one item for correspondence for information. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. Is there any questions, comments? If not, just looking for a motion to accept that as information. Councillor Auld.
I'll make that motion that we accept the Community Events Committee as information.
Okay, thank you very much. Discussion, all those in favor? That is carried. And moving on to the action list, Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So the open items, so the data feasibility study, so that was adopted by council today. We're still doing the one-page promotional brochure, I guess would it be, for it, so we can bring that back to council for review. When it's done, that should be at the next meeting. National Police Federation, they don't have a representative to come, so but we'll keep trying for a date, so it might be into the next term. And those are the open items. Acting Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kraus. Any questions on the action list? Councillor Auld. Oh, okay, sorry, your light was on. If there's no questions, just looking for a motion to accept the action list for information. Councillor Capraro.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to accept for information.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Discussion. All those in favor? And that is carried. Administrative inquiries. Do we have any administrative inquiries today? Councillor Shippold. Why did I know to look that way?
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I only have one. This has to do with the the old dump site or ecosystem. There's mattresses piled up all over. Whose responsibility is it to get rid of the mattresses? Is that the contractor who manages that for us, or is that us, or at what point do we get rid of the mini mattresses that are there?
Yeah, so Acting Mayor to Councillor Shippold, so when a quantity is reached, then they take it actually down to Calgary for recycling. I would have to verify what quantity that is, but it is up to our contractor that operates the facility.
Okay. Do we have any more administrative inquiries? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so do we have any notice of motion? Not seeing any notice of motion, so we will take a brief recess and then go into closed session. We're back from our break, and I'm just looking for a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Musker.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I move that we go into closed session.
Okay, thanks for that motion. Discussion? All those in favor? And we are now in closed session. Okay, we are back from closed session, and we just have one motion coming out of closed session. Councillor Musker, or Councillor Ald, sorry.
I'll just make the motion that we accept the CAO dialogue as information.
Okay, thank you for that motion. Discussion, all those in favor, and that is carried. And I will adjourn the meeting at 10:28. Thank you, everyone.